7 January 2024, and I'm very sorry about what's happening these days. I'm getting my dates all mixed up. I think it's because of the beginning of the year. And so today is 7 January 2024, and I want to give you an update on the Sunday stories. Usually I look at the Bulawayo newspapers, the Harare newspapers, and also at the trends on all the social media platforms. So today we've got very, very important stories. And the most important story of today that I'm going to be focusing on is in the Sunday news of Bulawayo. So that is the Sunday news newspaper. It's owned by Zim Papers. It's probably the best newspaper right now. If you want to know what is happening early on, they are very, very effective, the guys at the Sunday news. So the news that they are leading with today is that the Zimbabwe government is going to be introducing passport offices in foreign countries. So you know that before, if you needed to apply for a passport, you had to go to Zimbabwe, or you had to send the passport by DHL to Zimbabwe. So I'm just trying to find the story for you. It's right at the front of the paper. And what they're saying here is that from March, you'll be able to get your passport at an office in Cape Town or in Johannesburg. I don't know why it took so long, but this is very, very important. A lot of our guys here are struggling. So we need the same to be done for birth certificates. And I hope that that will be done, that people will be able to get passports and birth certificates in South Africa. But at the moment, they say that they will have South Africa in March at the cost of US $150. I think that is for the slower passport, and $250 for the faster passport. And then obviously, if you're in Cape Town or in Johannesburg, you'll be excited to know that you don't have to wait all those long periods, and you don't have to send people. You don't have to. If you've got kids, imagine if my kid had to fly to go and do his passport in Harare. It cost us almost $20,000 for hotels, flights, people to accompany him. It cost us so much, and I think this is a great idea, which the government of Zimbabwe has come up with. So that is the first story. The second story is cholera. Cholera has wreaked havoc in Zimbabwe. 15,000 people so far have had cholera. 5,000 of those people in Harare, and 300 people have died. So the numbers I'm telling you are crazy numbers. It's a pandemic. If you go back to when there was all those shutdowns, how many people died? You see that we now have a bigger problem in Zimbabwe, and this needs to be sorted out. ED has still not declared a state of emergency. Can you believe it? 15,000 people affected, 300 people dead, and ED has still not declared a state of emergency. If it declares a state of emergency, resources can be made available, but he has not done it. Crazy, crazy stuff. And then we also want to look at President of the CCC, Nelson Chamisa. Every day I'm going to share with you the tweets from President Chamisa, President of the CCC, Nelson Chamisa. He says here, knowing what shall be in the latter days, but there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets and mysteries. Daniel 2, verse 28. This one God, our God is in it, is in heaven. Our Father is the presiding authority over the entire universe, presides over all nations, all persons, and things on earth, and to him alone belongs the glory and revelation of secrets, and not to necromancers, heathen gods, or to any magical or witch doctor. Blessed Sabbath. That is the tweet from President of the CCC, the most popular person in Zimbabwe right now, Nelson Chamisa, after Winky D. Winky D is now more popular than Bob Marley. And I saw that Chamisa responded to Winky D's new song, amazing song. And this is amazing. What Chamisa here does every day. If you look at his tweets, he normally responds to people there. Imagine if ED was to tweet every day. That will never happen. Now let's go to the next thing. Bulawayo too. So this is entertainment stories, right? I'm gonna do them at the end. Let me go to Newsday stories. Umvutsha. farm is becoming a big problem. There was a recent Supreme Court ruling. So Obed Mpofu is involved in this story somehow. They want to take this farm. The farmer is called Alistair Fletcher Michael. And at first he won in the High Court to remove the ZANU-PF guys who invaded his farm. Then they went to the Supreme Court. The ZANU-PF guys went to the Supreme Court and they won. And Alistair Fletcher Michael has now gone to the Constitutional Court because his title deed has been endorsed so that the government can take a portion of his farm, but he doesn't want those people to take his farm. So this is where the case is. It's now at the Constitutional Court, and the invaders are still there on the farm. Then I want us to go to the buildings. So a business story: 158 buildings in Bulawayo declared unsafe. This is terrible. What's happening in Bulawayo? My favorite city, my best city, is now a mess in terms of maintenance. All these buildings, 158 buildings, have been declared unsafe. What is going to happen? And obviously, guys like Obed Mpofu are also implicated there. He owns quite a number of buildings in Bulawayo. Then I want to go to the entertainment news, and then I end with the sports news. So in entertainment news, there is a Bulawayo man called Kwete Noko. He died this past week on New Year's Eve. Bulawayo cheating is becoming a pandemic. So Kwete and his wife, they lived at a house in Pumula where they were renting a house, a room or something like that. So on New Year's Eve, his wife suggested that he goes and visits his family, and she will go and visit her family. But she didn't go. She stayed at home, and she stayed with the landlord's son in a room, locked up. Kwete didn't go to his parents. He went to drink beer, and then he came back home, found them locked in, and asked them to open. They refused to open. He started to hit the windows with stones and rocks. He's a Christian man, was a Christian man. Very good Christian man, according to witnesses. Then, when he started beating up the windows and causing a commotion, they took him out. They beat the hell out of Kwete, and he started bleeding. They were taken to the police. He was taken to the hospital, and on Monday he died. And he was buried yesterday. And the two have now been acquitted because it's not clear how he died. The bleeding, the post-mortem does not show that he was beaten, but he was bleeding. So that is the story in the Chronicle newspaper. You must go and have a look at that story. Very sad. Every week, I've got a cheating story from Bulawayo, which results in a death since January. So people in Bulawayo, please respect your marriages there. Now let's go to Tariro Gezi. I think she was based in Australia. She's back. I saw her at Magaya's church. She's looking for partnerships. She's a brand ambassador. So if you want a brand ambassador, Tariro Gezi is looking for a partnership. She's quite big on social media. She's got a big following. And then the Bulawayo is to host a comedy roast for Sandra Ndebele. If you are interested in that, you can go and have a look. Entrepreneurship, Tatenda Chipo Makayi is featured in the newspaper called the Standard newspaper. You should go and look at the profile, how she became a business person. And finally, Landrose Masina is going to be in the Zimbabwe female cricket squad. She's from Gai, raw girl. She's going to be the first, probably raw girl in the cricket squad for women for Zimbabwe. And I had forgotten a very big story. Mary Mbayo, or Mary Shwenga, she is being accused of withholding the Miss Zimbabwe pageant license. So all the people in the beauty pageant industry, they are saying, why is she not releasing that license? Because Zimbabwe last contested in 2018. So there is no Miss Zimbabwe universe, I think, since 2018. And that is the last time the Zimbabwe contested in Miss Zimbabwe universe. She holds that license, and they are failing to force her to release that license. Her father, Ken Bayo, has asked the people who are questioning to go to Beatrice Mtetwa to ask if they want to know anything about that license. They must go to Beatrice Mtetwa. So these are the stories that I have for today. So let us recap the stories that we had today. And I'll be back with the tenders. Every week I give you the tenders. I need you guys to apply to those tenders. Open a business. Open a business. If you're not working, it doesn't cost much. $5, $10. You can open a business and start contesting for these, like pitching for these like tenders that I'm giving here. You get something sooner or later. So let's start with the top story. The Zimbabwe government to open a passport office in South Africa by March. That is Cape Town and Johannesburg. You'll be able to apply for your passport instead of sending it to Zimbabwe. And that cost of the passport is $150 US for the long-term one and $250 US for the agent one. Then with the story of 15,000 cholera cases reported in Zimbabwe, and 300 people have died, while 5,000 of those people who had cholera are in Harare. ED is still not declared a state of emergency. Very, very slow to move. And the final story is obviously the 158 buildings in Bulawayo that are declared unsafe. The rest of the stories, you can go and check it out. I'm going to summarize them. If you look at our YouTube, you can see what I've covered every day. And I also summarize this on our front page at gambakwe.com. So please give me about an hour or two. The Sunday Mail newspaper is not yet out. When that newspaper comes out, I'm going to give you the tenders, all the tenders that are available. So in terms of quality, the Standard newspaper, very, very high quality, but they don't have a lot of advertisements. The Chronicle newspaper, very, very able leadership there, good editors, but they don't have as many adverts. The Sunday Mail newspaper, all around, it carries a lot of adverts, but it doesn't have a lot. It does have a lot of adverts. If you want to get adverts, you go to the Standard newspaper, to the Herald or the Sunday Mail newspaper. These newspapers, they carry very, very valuable information. If you're looking for work, if you want to know what's happening, look at these newspapers. And you can subscribe now to the Standard newspaper through WhatsApp. So go and find out how to subscribe through WhatsApp to the Standard newspapers. They have got a number that they've put where you can subscribe and pay a small amount of money on WhatsApp. You can share the newspaper with your family and friends if you do that, if you subscribe. Now let's go to Kabi, where it says fresh elections in Zimbabwe. Right, those are the comments. Kabi, let me explain to you why fresh elections are a problem in Zimbabwe. The framework that is there is not correct. So currently, ED, ZEC, the army, they're still in charge of everything. So if you have fresh elections now, you have the same situation. So what Chamisa is saying is that let's create a transitional authority, or let's have a dialogue and create power sharing until such a time as elections are going to be meaningful. At the moment, elections are not meaningful, especially at the presidential level. They are not meaningful. Right now, if I was Chamisa, I would just forget about the elections and focus on SADC, focus on negotiations. The elections mean nothing. ED is going to hold on to that office. And then Shatirwa, you're saying which place in South Africa for the passport? At the embassy, they are creating space so that you'll be able to apply for a passport, and they are going to be apply that is in Cape Town and Johannesburg. Unfortunately, they say in March. So it's not today, but after a month, you can go and ask the guys at the embassy. I'm sure you can inquire now. It's in the newspaper. It's not a story that is in a funny place. It's in the government newspaper, the Sunday newspaper, and probably it will be in the Sunday Mail. So the place is Cape Town and Johannesburg. That is what they say in this newspaper. And then Chamisa needs to stop the Bible verses. I don't think Chamisa is going to stop. He is a pastor. You understand? Chamisa is a pastor. He's a man of God, and he's going to say all these things that he's saying. It's like that South Africa Chief Justice who was so biblical. Same thing. He's very popular, and he's probably going to be the new president of South Africa if what MK is planning to do happens. They want to appoint him as their leader, according to what I hear. Then let's look. Raymond is saying, Steve Joe, we should understand why our Kambako says is more popular than Bob Marley. Yes, Winky D more popular than Bob Marley right now. That man is brave. You walk in the Harare International Conference Center. Do you know who stays at the Harare International Conference Center? Top police, top army, top ZANU-PF, right opposite the ZANU-PF buildings. And you sing that song. Amazing stuff. That is bravery. I think Winky D is the most bravest guy in Zimbabwe. He can do anything, and he does it from Zimbabwe. Very, very brave. Do you remember when Bob Marley almost got assassinated? Go and find out that story, what Bob Marley did. These guys are not just musicians. They are spiritual. The thing that Winky D does, it's spiritual. It scares ZANU-PF to the core. If you understand what I'm talking about, it's very, very spiritual what Winky D does. He's not just an ordinary person. Now let's go to the last comment. NTA way to go, but you come back where you confuse people entertaining Pugeni in CC issue, and that is to MDCT. I don't entertain Pugeni. Let me explain to you what Pugeni is. Pugeni is the spokesperson for Chabang. So the thing that I do myself, I know the actual thing that is happening. I don't talk. I'm not a YouTuber, like someone who just talks. I talk to those people that are actually involved. So when I go to Pugen, he'll tell me what exactly is happening in Chabang. When I go to Chamisa's people, when I tell you here, the people that I talk to, the people next to Chamisa, they know me. I'm not talking about things that I don't know. In ZANU-PF, the guys that are there in ZANU-PF, they know me. I'm not what do you call this? A YouTuber that is just talking things that is so. So that is why I'm saying to you, I have to know everyone. And also, when I walk in Harare, ZANU-PF guys, they mustn't touch me, right? You see. So sometimes I control myself a bit so that they don't touch me. Otherwise, I'll be touched. Then you won't have anyone to tell you the news every day. And ED, he watches here. Right now, ED is probably watching, if you didn't know. The three people that always watch this program, it's ED, Chamisa, and Mahere. Those are the three people. But Mahere still blocked me. I don't know what I did. Right, let's look at... it's funny to me why Mahere would block me. Kambakwe, why opening passports where people are suffering? Okay, I think these ones we'll do with them another time. But guys, I think we've covered everything here. And I'm really enjoying everything that is happening. 2024, amazing year. It's starting very, very slowly politically, but we have our election coming up on the 3rd of February, by-elections, quite a number of by-elections. And I'm sure that the dialogue is going to start very, very soon. I think we've covered everything. I'll be back with the tenders within the next 2 to 3 hours. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and a good morning to you.